If I've learned anything from the rowing machine that I bought at the beginning of the pandemic and then just never used, it's about the benefits of taking up space and doing nothing else. But on guitar, that can actually be a good thing musically, because a lot of times you'll find yourself in a chord progression that maybe something repeats and there's no lyrics or something if you're singing along with it, and you just kind of feel like you're stuck there. For instance, if we just have like an A minor to an E minor to an A minor and A minor again, it just kind of sounds a little stale if that's all you do, right? But then if you just add a little bit, like just like a little move, just like real simple little things that can take up space in a chord progression and you can use all over the place. All right, so that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm rocking out the Cort A6 Gold. They have sponsored this video. This is an awesome guitar. I actually did a shootout last week with it, in case you missed it, where it really holds its own against guitars that are like 4 times its price. So I will have a link in the description if you are interested in that. Thanks a lot, Cort. Awesome guitar. But we're going to stick with this A minor thing, right? So you probably already know how to play A minor chord. First fret on the B string, second fret on the D string, second fret on the D and the G string, right? Okay, so we're gonna take up some space here instead of just strumming it, right? A minor to E minor to A minor, all right? I think the important thing to think about are what notes are in an A minor chord. An A, a C, and an E. And it can be as simple as like knowing where those notes are all over the place. Or I like to kind of think of it as a shape. So anytime we have an open string, we're gonna turn this into like a little riff that just comes from arpeggiating the chord, playing the chord one note at a time. A, C, E, right? Open A, 3A, 2D. And then we're gonna go from the C to the 5th fret, 3rd fret to 5th fret, C to D, and then go back to open A. All right, the nice thing about having a chord whose root note is an open string is you can get into the neck and then open it up to buy yourself time to get your hand back to the position, right? So A, E, minor, A, there's some space. It's always going to sound good because we're just playing the notes in that chord, but we're doing them in a little bit of a different way. We're leaving this chord voicing. You can even go farther into the neck once we get by it, but I really just kind of want to stick around. You do the same thing with that E. Maybe it's just A minor, E minor, E minor. Right? It's a little move that comes from just knowing a root note, a minor third. Any minor chord has a minor third in it. It just means 3 notes higher, open to 3. That's where that minor third is. And then it's 5th, which is always going to be kind of diagonal from where the minor third is, right? And then you can always slide from the 3rd higher into it to make it sound better. So we've got an A minor chord, E minor, okay, so real quick little move you can always use. It's really important to know where those things come from, right? The same thing can be done with major chords, okay? So we're gonna do the same chord progression, but instead of going back to A minor, we're gonna go to a G major chord, right? A minor, E minor, G. See how that second time on the G, maybe there are lyrics over this part, and then there's just silence over there? Again, that's the perfect time to just fill that space with something a little more interesting, okay? So the only difference between a major chord and minor chord is where that third is. Like we said, a minor third is 3 frets higher, also known as a flat third, because a major third is 4 notes higher. So it's really just one difference. So when we have a G, there's a root note, 3rd fret, 4 frets higher is going to be the 7th fret. It's a B note. Great. It's great to know arpeggios to kind of like take you through the neck. If you're interested in that thing, that's a great thing to kind of study, arpeggios, just because you'll have such a better sense of these intervals. An interval is just a space. A major third is an interval of 4 frets, or 2 whole steps, okay? So we can do the same thing with the G chord. Okay, but we're gonna change this up a little bit. I really think something I find myself using, because I play a lot of these shows where I'm like just accompanying, where it's just an acoustic guitar and a singer. I think something that takes up space in a way that almost sounds like chords a little bit more are octave runs, okay? So the thing that we just talked about was with the G chord, 2 frets higher, that's going to be in the key, 2 frets higher from there, so kind of like the 3rd fret to the 5th fret to the 7th fret. Knowing what key you're in is always very helpful. The 8th fret would be a C note. That's always going to be in this key too. So we're going to think of these 4 notes. G, A, B, C. So we're really just kind of playing a scale starting on the low E string. But the trick is to play these as octaves, okay? So what that means is we're gonna have the root note here, and then the octave on the D string, okay? So 3E is a G note. If you go down 2 frets, down 2 strings, you have 5D. That's also a G note. You don't have to memorize what all the notes are on the D string, because you've already learned what the notes are on the E string. So you can just octave higher. Okay, so we've got G. Now I'm just kind of running this octave through that scale. G, A, B, C. G, A, B, C. All right? Now you'll notice that the A string you can't hear because my pointer finger is kind of laying down where I'm getting tone from the E string, but I'm muting the A string. Sometimes you'll hear a little harmonic there, but because I'm doubling up with those octaves, you can't even hear that I'm muting the A string. So G, A, B, C. In context, A minor, E minor, G. I can run up and down them if I want. Okay, so we have kind of 2 ideas here. We're working through arpeggios as single notes to create riffs, or thinking of the scale, where those intervals are across either the E or the A string to kind of fill space through the scale, okay? That's why I really recommend memorizing the E and A string notes and then thinking of octaves from there, because octaves on a guitar just sounds cool. It sounds like you're playing different, it sounds like you're playing chords, you can play it so it sounds like it's almost playing lead. So it's somewhere in between, but it's really just a note being doubled. And you can kind of like slide it back and forth because the shape more or less stays the same. Even though the spacing between the frets gets smaller as you go down, your fingers will just learn to adapt to that, right? So again, if we're just doing these in the key of C, the key of A minor, however you want to think about it, it's good to be able to play the scale all along one string, right? E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E. Octave all those. So no matter what chord progression you're doing in the key of C or A minor, all of these spots are going to be fair game for octaves. And I'm kind of just running into them. It's never going to sound bad, but it's always a great way to take up space without having to really think too hard, because you can always go to these hot spots. Same thing with the A string. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. Open 2, 3, 5, 7, 8, 10, 12. So a great exercise is to just go through octave runs on rooted E string chords, octaves, and rooted A string ones. So E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. No matter where you are in a key, even if you're playing totally different chords in that key of C, or like a D minor to a C, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, Okay, there's always a spot that you'll know where to go just because you took a little bit of time to just memorize open 1, 3, 5, 7, 8, 10, 12, open 2, 3, 5, 7, 8, 10, 12. I think that was right. But yeah, anyways, just some real quick tips to help you feel that space. Think of every, bar or 2 bars where a chord just stays still statically, as long as there's no, lyrics or another instrument isn't taking up that space. See that as an opportunity for you to kind of spread your wings a little bit, flex those muscles. And eventually, I think you'll find the more you take risks farther down the neck, just kind of the more agile your hands will be, and the more just ingrained these intervals become in your mind's eye. So thanks for checking it out. Thank you, Cort, for sponsoring this video. And if you have more questions and stuff, you can always check out my Patreon, where I go through different song lessons and kind of like ordered sequential lessons and stuff too. And if you have any questions, hit me up in the comment section, Instagram, Twitter, or the website. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you.